Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the podcast tonight. It's MexiGary here on Twitch with Mr. John Obie O'Brien.
Hello mate, how you doing?
Comedian extraordinaire. If you guys have ever seen Obie before doing his stand-up show, you'll know he's one of the most, I would say, well, would you describe yourself as offbeat?
I don't know.
You're definitely not a Michael McIntyre style comedian, are you?
No.
Yeah.
See, I've never known how to describe myself. People ask me that. How do you describe your comedies? I
Yeah.
don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a guy doing whatever I'm
Yeah.
doing.
How do you
You
think
know-
other people describe your comedy, though?
I don't know. What did you say? Offbeat?
Well, it's definitely off the beaten track.
Aye.
You know, it's
so
not
I try
your-
to be different.
Zarband, how you doing? Thanks very much for popping in. Thanks for that Pikachu emoji
So-
for some reason.
So I kind of, see when I started, I didn't watch loads of comedy. Well, I've got my favourites, but I didn't want to be influenced too much
Right.
by watching people.
Okay.
Because sometimes you see comedians that are, you see them and go like, you're a Kevin Bridges fan, aren't you?
Oh, I see, right.
You know, and a few years ago it was always, you acts sounded like Stuart Lee.
Right.
I went, you watch Stuart Lee 5 hours a day, didn't you?
Did you think that was because maybe the tides had turned slightly, and it was now that Stuart Lee is basically prog rock of comedy, isn't he? You know?
He's brilliant.
And the tides have turned, and now people have gone back through the whole John Bishop and Michael McIntyre and Lee Evans thing, and they've gone back to the subversive comedy that's a little bit more, makes you think about what you're actually watching.
Aye.
So I did. That's why one of the reasons why I love watching you, because it's like it's not your normal one-liner kind of show.
How would you describe it then? Because I'm still working it out. I don't know what I don't know.
Well, I think
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you talk about you still talk about things that happen to people day to day, but you put them in this really weird context that it's like, it is like that, but is it really? Because you have this weird way. What? How? I've already asked. Well, how you describe yourself, and you said you don't know.
Aye.
But I love you. You had this whiteboard once where you were like asking what I love about you is you have a lot of, obviously a lot of your show is improv.
Aye.
Or at least it was when I.
No, it
used to
still
see you.
is.
Yeah.
I think I've got like a backbone that if I'm doing an hour show, I'm going to start, middle, and end, but I allow myself a bit of room.
Right.
If I get off on a tangent somewhere,
Yeah.
that I know where to get back to.
There's definitely a lot of improv
Aye,
and a lot of
aye.
crowd work that you do, and that must make every show unique.
I try to do it. Aye.
You know, have you done big shows and small shows, and as I have as well. You know,
Aye.
sometimes there's might be 100 people there, or might be 2 people
You
there.
said you done 2 people the other night, didn't you?
Yeah, that's true. Man.
I've done that. Aye, 2 people.
But
100
it's
people.
easier for me to do gigs to 2 people
Aye.
because I just play what I want. But it's harder for you to, like, if 2 people are laughing,
Aye.
that's
Oh, the-
fine. But if they're not laughing, that's like a dagger to the heart, surely.
It's kind of I think it teaches you more.
Right.
So I think I've got good at it because I've done the Edinburgh Festival for years, and a lot of years I've had like shitholes in the middle of nowhere, and it's hard to get an audience. I do all right now because I've built like an audience here.
Right.
But you need to. So I've never. I try my best not to not do a show. But I've seen comedians getting like 4 people in and pulling it, and I said, well, these 4 people have turned up.
Yeah.
Do the show because you don't know who they are or they've made an effort.
Yeah.
Because I remember that I'd done it like a few years ago. Sneaky Pete's. You probably done Sneaky Pete's as a musician. Do you know that in Edinburgh?
I might have done it
Cowgate,
once,
that's-
yeah.
So
Oh,
they
yeah.
do music and that. So one year I was in the bar. It was a Tuesday or something. My show was at 3:45, and it was looking a bit dead. And 3 people come in, and I was just about to start the show, but they were in and they were doing that awkwardly. They come in awkwardly. I went, oh shit. They kind of felt awkward, and I went, listen, have a beer, and we'll have a chat. And if you want me to do the show, I'll do it. If not, we'll have a beer.
Right.
So that's part of it. I try to build rapport with them.
Right.
So I was just having a chat with them, and nobody else turned up. So it was just these 3 people. So it was a guy with 2 women. So I don't know. I don't know. He was a player. I don't know. So this guy with two women, and we just had a chat at the bar. But we know that way when you chat to somebody, you kind of start feeling comfortable with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we started kind of having a laugh, and for about 10 minutes in, I went, so you know what, man? You know what? Because I'd built on that, I says I could do a wee show for you. It wouldn't be a full show, but if you want, I could get up and do a bit if you want. Only because I'd built enough rapport with them.
Right.
So I went, aye, yeah, I'll fucking do it. So I went up. I think I ended up doing about half an hour to 40 minutes just for these 3 people. A lot of improv, a lot of stuff.
Amazing.
And, you know, the way I do it, the free fringe stuff, it's like busking. So you do the show and then you say money, then you give me money. So I say to them, listen, it's not a real show. I don't want any of your money. We'll just have a beer at the bar. That's cool.
Right.
But the guy gave me like 20 quid anyway. And I was, all right, brilliant, thanks. But then because I'd done the show, the following year, this guy brought about 15 people to see one of my shows. And so if I didn't do that, that wouldn't have happened.
There you go,
so
man.
that's how you build it.
Dude, I totally relate to that, because the amount of gigs that I played early on when I first got to Glasgow to like, you know, 2 or 3 people.
Aye.
And I was basically in the same situation as you, where I was just like, okay, there's not even any point in me plugging the guitar in. I might as well sit at your table and play the guitar
I like lap
to
dancing.
you. Yeah. And sometimes the guy would be like, I can play a bit of Wonderwall, he's a guitar, and I would just give him the guitar and go, well, let's just have a wee jam.
Aye.
And the birds are sitting there and having a sing-along and that. And then, but then they come back because you made an atmosphere. They know how hard you work to make that one work.
Aye.
So they come back years later and you're playing to, you know, more people, hopefully, you think. And then, you know, every little helps, you know.
There was I don't know if you heard, you know Robin Granger?
No.
So Robin Granger is a good comedian, wee guy from Edinburgh, and he was doing the stand, right? And so there was a promoter, there was what's the word, a reviewer in the stand to see another show that was waiting to get in, that was next door to where he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
But Robin was in doing his show, and there was only one guy there, just one guy, sitting about 5 rows up or something like that. So one guy, but Robin was in giving it full pelt. He didn't kind of go, there's only one guy. But he gave his full energy to this one guy.
Right.
The guy was loving it. So this reviewer popped her head in and went, all right, but she was there to see another show. But she ended up writing an article about this wee guy who'd done the show to one person and started, like, I've seen comedians that they have like a small crowd and they half-arse it. No, they kind of get in and they kind of go, let's just get through this. So they went, no, these people have turned up. It doesn't matter if there's only 3 of them, but they're there.
Yeah.
They're there to see you, so don't be a dick.
Yeah.
So he gave them full pelt. She wrote an article about him, and then that went viral. So, and this guy happened to be involved in radio, some radio thing. So this went huge. There was an article about it. It went viral, and a few days after that, he sold out the rest of his run because he put the full boona into this one for this one gig.
Brilliant.
And just that attitude. And now he's doing a tour based on that show, based on that one gig with the one person. Out of that, because somebody randomly, luckily was there, made a big deal of it, and now he's doing a tour based on that.
So did that one instance inspire you? Because every time like a lot of times when I see your Facebook posts about you have some great gigs, and I do, and we have some bad gigs. You know,
never had a bad gig in my time. Never had a bad gig.
No,
never.
He's playing the Hydro every night. He's going to do a residency 16 nights in a row. But no, I see you pulling out a great show of sometimes a bad situation. And do you think that was inspiring to you? Was that
but this only happened this year though.
Oh, I see.
So
you've been doing that for years.
I think so, but just that, and I've never got caught. I've never got the luck that wee bastard's had.
I know yet though.
It just shows the attitude that he, because I've heard other comedians, and I've been in a room with other comedians, and I'm kind of going, I'll not mention names, and they've been in the bar, and I'm going, you're meant to be doing a show. Because they're meant to be on. And this guy went, there's only 15 people turned up.
15, man, that's
I was like, fuck off, man.
That's a sellout for some
15
rooms.
people have come out their way to see you.
Yeah.
And you think you're too good to do that? Fuck off.
So they've got to just go home or find something else to do. Because this guy can't be arsed going on with 15.
And there was only like a 50-seater. There's that. You know what it's like? If a small room, 15 people, you can do a decent gig with 15
That's
people.
bullshit, man. Yeah, totally.
Because he'd probably done a few big gigs, I think she's too good to do that now.
Right.
I was like, fucking hell.
Oh, so it was because he did big gigs and then he had to go back down to doing the...
Aye, so he was doing alright. His career was going well. He was doing a lot of club gigs.
So he didn't need the money. So he was
probably did need the money, but, he just thought he was too big but she wasn't to do the small crowd.
Right.
But
And where is he now?
He's doing all right.
Oh, is he doing all right?
He's doing
Oh,
all right,
shit.
aye. But
That's a shame.
It's not the point.
No, I get it, man. But me and you met years and years ago. Probably about, you know what? I'll tell you exactly how many years ago
15
it was.
or something.
15 years ago at the Halt Bar.
Halt Bar.
On Woodlands Road.
Remember
and
it
that
well.
and I saw you doing that improv thing with the whiteboard, and I was like, this guy's fucking crazy.
Oh, the memory stuff. That I
You
done
were
there.
headlining
Aye.
those. Well, obviously you were headlining because you were the best guy on the bill.
I bribed the guy.
No, not at all. Man. No, it's what John
Malky.
John Malky.
Oh, aye,
Yeah,
aye.
his only good joke was the chapping thing.
That wasn't a good joke. The only joke they got
Yeah,
John's alright. He's alright.
it was like having a wank and then dust comes out. You know, it took him about 15 minutes to get to the fucking punchline, and then nobody got it, and then he had to explain it. Hey, if you're watching, John, you're a great comedian, and we're just kidding. It's all fucking jokes, bro. Yeah, let me go to camera 2 while I go. It's all fucking jokes, bro.
That was a good gig. That was a good. I loved it. I loved the whole bar.
Yeah,
was
I
brilliant.
loved it as well, man. I mean, it wasn't like, I mean, I would never class myself as a comedian.
As you've done a few comedy gigs, you
You only just remembering this now.
No, I knew that. 'Cause that's when I met you. You were a
That's
musician who'd done a wee kind of.
Well, I was-
in the comedy world.
I was just trying it out, man, but I just realised it wasn't for me, because then I realised after watching guys like you and Chris Henry and, you know, the guys, there was a couple of really young guys on that scene
Aye.
as well, and they were great. And one of them went on to win some award, doesn't matter.
Aye.
But you know, it
I
just
just
made
feel-
me realise how much work goes into it. Like, to build a 5-minute tight set. Did you ever do 5 minutes? Because I only ever saw you doing 15
Oh
or
no,
20.
no,
like that.
I definitely. It took me a while to get a good 5. What was that? What was that noise?
Darth Rips and Draco. What the hell? Darth Rips and Draco Lick said, "Who's the weirdest individual you've ran into at a bar?" Thanks for the bits there, Draco Licks.
This guy.
Well, I would have to respond equally.
That's how we got on Samuel, but here's the weirdest guy. Is that asking us?
No, we've just talked about Malky.
Malky's alright. He's a good guy. We're just slagging him off. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
I've met. There's loads of weird people. Can't think though.
Did you ever do the stand?
Aye.
Like,
Aye.
how did you feel about that compared to like the Halt and
Eh.
obviously you did what's it called, that one down by the Clutha, the
Oh, I remember that one and all.
one in the corner,
Victoria Bar.
Victoria Bar.
That used to be on the Wednesday, didn't it?
No, that was actually
That was a weird one,
that's
wasn't
right,
it?
that was really that was the first one I ever did actually, and it was because I was already going to do the Halt on the Tuesday the next week. Tuesdays at the Halt.
Tuesday was a halt.
Yeah.
That one was maybe a Wednesday or something,
yeah.
something like that.
And it was a last minute thing, and John was like, Malky was like, right, we need an extra act. A wee man was headlining,
Right.
and there was only like 10 people in the place.
That
And
was busy. That was a busy
Yeah,
one
for
for
the
that, wasn't it?
Vicky, aye. And then, but my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh, I'll come with you." I was like, "It's my first.
Oh,
I don't want you to come."
You don't
and she was
want-
like, "No, I'll come and I'll come and I'll." So I was like, "Right, fine." She didn't realise till she got there that I only had about 10 minutes max.
Oh, she didn't know
And-
that you were on.
No, she did, but she didn't realise that 8 minutes of my 10-minute set was about how much of a cunt my girlfriend was.
Shit.
So there's only 10 people in the bar. 3 of them are bar staff. 4 of them are acts.
Aye.
So you're talking about like an extra 2 people. And
2
my
actual
girlfriend.
punters. Aye,
2
right.
punters and my bird.
Right.
And I was like, I told you not to come. But she never did anyway. I never made her come.
Is that why she's not your girlfriend anymore? Is that when you fucked it up?
Yeah, probably, man.
Aye.
But yeah, that was a tough one, the Victoria. But do you ever find that I mean, you're way more seasoned than most comics I know. Do you find that the smaller rooms or the lighter attended gigs are like just a challenge for you now?
Aye.
Yeah. You like flipping it.
Oh, totally right. There's nothing better. See like the stand. You've got 100, 250 people, right? And they don't book me, but that's besides the point. The bastards. But
Come on,
there
man.
they are. But doing a big room is kind of like easy.
Right.
If you're a decent comedian.
Well, there's a crowd to do crowd work with.
Aye.
Yeah, so that's got to be a
But
bonus.
working a small crowd takes skill, and for me anyway, I learned a lot in Edinburgh doing loads of gigs to small crowds, and then getting a big crowd was a piece of piss. If I can get 7 people, and it's all about, I don't know. I started thinking like mixing like a DJ. It's like it's a built. It's like kind of creating an energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking these five people and making a wee group. It's like, you ever been in a group of mates? You're out with your mates, and the dynamics fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
You've got your band mates, your mates you drink with, and they're just 5's, and you're just all together, and it's this energy. Mm-hmm. It's like a synergy or something like that. You're like fucking.
So you try and create that with with a couple of strangers.
So I try and introduce it to each other and just try and kind of make it a wee party.
Yeah.
So rather than, so if I get into a group like that and I'm doing like if I do like a set, because there's comedians who are brilliant writers, right? I'm an alright writer, I'm trying to get better at that. But to do their set the exact same way every time.
That's a skill in itself, though, isn't it?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Getting the timing and the beats right, and
but the only problem with that
fat.
is doing that with a different setting. You need to change it.
Right.
So I've got my material, and if I can work that with a smaller crowd, all the timing's different because you're reacting to what's going on in the room.
Right.
So it's like, if I do that, if you get into you're a comedian that's got the exact set, and you get into a small crowd and do that, so it's a connection. There's no connection there. If that makes sense.
I know what you mean.
So there's a thing in comedy where I've seen it, and so, see if I was a new comedian and they said, I've been rehearsing this for weeks.
Right.
I know they're going to be shite.
Right.
Because they've been in rehearsing it in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
So they're going to say it word for word, and the audience are not even there.
Do you think is there such a thing as an actual comedy audience in Glasgow? Do you think?
I don't know.
Like a bunch of comedy fans that know whether a comedian is doing it impromptu or if he's practiced it.
I think probably that. Aye.
Right.
It's one of the things I've never quite understood, but aye.
Yeah.
There is probably you probably get regulars that go to the stand and that. They kind of they're geeks to go to a lot.
Yeah. Well, do you think there's comedy snobs here as well? Or the same way
aye.
there is music snobs, do you think there's comedy snobs? And
Probably,
go,
aye.
I heard McIntyre doing a version.
I know. He did a cop joke. He's talking about wanking.
Yeah.
So I'm above that. So. And then they know all the structure and all that. Fuck off.
There was one thing you talked about a while ago. Actually, it might have been years ago, but I think we had a wee conversation about how you like to. Well, you actually touched on it there a minute ago about how you like to give sections of the audience personalities of their own, and you'll be like, okay, that's the posh guy, or that's the, Do you remember talking about this at all?
Possibly.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean, people in the audience?
Yeah, just specific people that you can get a hold on, and you can get a hold on their personality, and like, he's that guy, and then he's that guy. And you dissect the room, and you can, because as we were talking about Stuart Lee earlier on, he does that.
Aye.
Even though the audience didn't remotely out themselves as that section of he'll be like, oh, that's see, these people down here, they get it, and he'll be like, oh, these people over here, they don't understand what's going on here.
I see them doing that, and I kind of in the Hydro, the SECC, the Armadillo a few years ago.
Right.
It was doing that, and they went, most of the year just here because my real fans bought tickets and you don't get this.
Yeah.
And
let's bring Karen and Anthony. They'll really enjoy this. And Karen and Anthony are sitting there going, "Is this it? Is this
the rest
the guy?"
Is just laughing because you think if you don't laugh, people think you're stupid for not getting
it.
Kind of thing. So you kind of berate them for that. And so he's quite kind of meta.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
I guess it is, yeah. I mean, I'm still questioning what the fuck Gen X means, so meta's probably up there.
Oh, fuck those. I don't know, man. I don't know whether that means.
Yeah. So who would you say at the moment, or who would you say was the guy who got you into stand-up in the first place?
You're assuming the gender there. You said the guy.
Well, I mean, guy is a passive.
Well, I done Viv G's comedy course. You know Viv G?
Viv G, she used to host at the stand, didn't she? Yeah.
So Viv G,
that comedy course was run at Maggie Mays, if I'm...
No.
Was it not? No.
Might have been at one point, but she ran it in Strathclyde Uni. I done it 23 years ago, maybe 24. Way. So I always wanted to do comedy, right? So it was there.
But why?
I don't know.
What was the first reason why you wanted to go
Right.
go into Viv G's?
But now we're getting to psychological reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Lay back.
I wasn't loved enough as a child.
Yeah. Didn't get enough cuddles.
I didn't get enough cuddles.
I fucking feel you, man. Why do you think I've got 16 guitars?
I know. So, but I think when I was at school, I was quiet, right? I kind of remember being a wee quiet, nervous guy. Everyone was scary, right?
All right.
Like females, they still scare me, but that's... so, I was just kind of nervous. But then, I remember at primary school, I was... Every now and again, I'd come out with a one-liner, and I'd get laughs, and I was going, oh, I fucking like this.
Yeah, like that makes you feel good.
Aye, and I was like, fucking hell, this maybe gives me a connection with people.
Right.
And when I went to high school, I kind of done it a wee bit as well, and I became the kind of funny guy. Still quiet, still nervous, but every now and again I'd be funny, and it kind of got me kind of slightly. I was a kind of you get a kind of hierarchy at school.
Right.
You've got the cool kids, you've got the kind of in betweenies, and then you've got the kind of losers.
Right.
I was kind of closer to the loser end. Right, so I was kind of doing that.
I think all performers were, man.
Aye.
To be honest.
So I think kind of having the odd one liner kind of got me in with the cool guys.
Right.
No,
Took
and
you from a
again.
2 to a 4.
Aye.
Yeah.
So they'd let me bring me in, make me laugh, and they go fuck off again.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So I got that.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed remember the Royal Variety performance and all that.
Yeah.
I wasn't into music, right? I know you're a musician, but when there were things on like music and dancing and all that, I was bored of my tits. But when the comedian came on, I was like, fucking yes.
Yeah.
Or the magician.
Yeah.
So guys like that, that's what I enjoyed. And it was
Right.
always like, always had a secret. And it's one of the, I think it's a Scottish male thing. I was in the closet for years about I want to be a comedian.
Right.
You know, you're like, because people just go, shut up, it was just stupid.
In the closet for years about being a comedian. So what age were you when you first started doing comedy?
28, I think.
Right. Well, that's a pretty. Would you say that's quite a late start?
Don't know. There's
To
loads
do,
of,
to go up on stage and do it, you know. Not that anybody who's over 28 should not think about doing it, because it's definitely a fucking thing that I think everybody should do at some point in their life.
I'd have loved to have started earlier, but you know, it's fine. And there's, the beauty of comedy, probably music as well, you can start at any time.
Yeah.
The Susan Boyle got discovered at 48.
Yep. That's definitely who you want to compare yourself to as a musician.
Right. It was her looks as well that got her out.
Well, if I can do it, she can do it. So.
And,
I look like a fucking haunted scarecrow.
you know what I love about comedy, right? There's comedy's ageless. There was a woman in this that died a few years ago, Lynn Ruth Miller, and she was like late 80s when she died. She started comedy in her 70s and had quite a good career. She was an American. I think she had bad marriages or whatever she got. And she started comedy in her 70s and she's travelling all over the world.
Right. Do you ever feel like music is something that's a young man's game, but whenever I see a comedian younger than the age of like 30, I'm like, he's going to be good.
He's going to be good.
Yeah, I always just think like young comedians, I'm like, you haven't got enough in the tank to be that angry yet.
Possibly.
You know what I mean? You know.
Possibly, but there is exceptions to that, isn't there?
Well, I mean, it depends what kind of comedy you're into, but I'm into like guys who just get like really angry and irate on stage. That's why I love watching you. You get so irate. What was that one about the council tax bill? I don't want you to do your actual.
Nah.
I don't want you to, burn your content right
material,
now.
aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
But you had one about the. Was it council tax?
Aye,
yeah.
aye.
It was such a good bit.
Aye.
Such a good, concise, tight little fucking.
Aye.
It's an edible piece of comedy, that, man, you know.
Still no paid it.
I know. By the way, if you just joined us, guys, it's me, MexiGary, here on Twitch with Mr. John Obie O'Brien.
What do you call yourself on Twitch?
MexiGary.
How's MexiGary?
Because my first band was called Mexico,
Right.
and the kind of name stuck.
All right,
A
fair
little
enough.
bit.
I didn't
But
know that.
everybody needs an alias. You've got Obie, I've got MexiGary.
Aye.
So,
See, I'm on Twitch as well. I don't think I've done any videos yet. I think I've got 2 followers.
all right, well, Twitch is a live thing, so if
I
you're
know.
not... Yeah.
I'll need on it. You can follow me, Obie Comedian.
Dracolix says, I've seen some real good young comedians. By the way, I was not dissing young comedians. Let me just elaborate on
all people under 40 are shit.
that. Yeah, that's
No,
exactly
there
what
is.
I meant.
That's what I said. That there's Kevin Bridges was in his early 20s. He done well.
That's true.
Daniel Sloss.
Well, no, listen, I'm not. I wasn't saying...
Who's the American guy?
You're not going to let me renege that, are you?
Sorry.
No. I was just saying, I prefer guys with a few years behind them, few miles on the odometer, that I've got a reason to get angry about shit.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Kevin Bridges is fucking brilliant.
Aye.
You're right about Daniel Sloss.
Daniel Sloss.
He's blowing it up in America right
Aye.
now, by the way.
See,
he's up there with Mark Normand and Sam Morrill just doing podcasts. And
Aye, because I hadn't seen him for a while, and then all of a sudden he was on a talk show with Conan O'Brien. I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
yeah, I know, but Sloss's
good on him.
Sloss's Netflix specials, what was it called? Shows or live shows?
He's got two or three, I think.
It
now.
was that first one was fucking. It was hilarious, but it was heavy watching.
Aye.
Because it was very dark.
Aye.
Yeah, it was
aye,
about
it does
some certain. Do you remember what it was about? It was about his.
I don't think I've seen it, but I think I know that he's.
Yeah, he was brilliant at it though. It was
personal
just,
family stuff and that.
that's exactly about his sister.
Don't
yeah.
want to get into it, but aye.
He turned it into an amazing show, but
Aye.
every single thing that he said up until a certain point, I was like, Jesus, this is fucking dark, man. But you know, I'm not a comedian, so
That's
I didn't
good,
know
though.
that he was able to flip it. You know what I mean? And but it was every single thing he said was hilarious.
Aye.
You know, but let's get back to your shows, man. So, what was the first stand-up show you ever actually did? I think it was in Glasgow.
Right, so the first one would have been so I done Viv G's course.
Yeah.
So that was like a 6-week course, and basically, right, I done that because I wanted to do comedy, but I had no idea how you do that. I was like, I wanted to do a comedian. How the fuck would you do that? I just didn't know. I was clueless. So this idea, I want to be a comedian, but I don't know where to go. But then I seen an advert in it was an article in the Sunday Mail said woman does comedy workshop. I was like, I need to go on that just to find out. So I eventually found out where it was, booked onto the course. I loved it. But I think like comedy's like driving. The course gets you started, but you don't really learn until you're out doing shit. You can't just do a course, do your first gig, and be hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
I run my courses as well, but I say to people, I get you to your first gig, and it's up to you what you do after that. I can't make you Frankie Boyle your first gig.
Right, yeah.
You need to actually be out, dying in your hole, doing good gigs, work with different crowds, and building your experience. You're the same.
Well, that's like anything, man. Yeah, exactly. Like if it was as easy as me to say to somebody, "This is how you play," like Eric Clapton, everybody would be millionaires. You know what I mean?
But like guitar, you need that. All right,
yeah. By the way, I could probably teach you to play like Clapton in 10 minutes. He's shite. But
does he like young comedians or Eric Clapton?
Okay, you're putting headlines in tonight, man.
I'm going to get you cancelled, Gary.
I'm surprised I haven't been cancelled yet, to be honest. Yeah, so you did the comedy course.
Aye.
But had you, before you did the comedy course, had you written anything before that?
I think I had, right.
You hadn't done any gigs before that?
No.
Right.
I think I kind of remember having stuff written that I'd had, but it was all shite. It was all in it.
A bit like Clapton.
A bit like Clapton, aye.
By the way, Clapton's awesome. That was a joke.
He's here. We've got him in the cupboard. We're going to.
Clapton's on my podcast tonight.
Is he? He couldn't get him, so he got me.
Right after John.
So what was I saying there?
Aye, so you hadn't written anything.
I had written stuff, but it was all shite. It was something. I think I remember years later going to look back on it, going, "That's pish," and I think it was just stuff. My earliest, and I think a lot of early comedians that you look at, because when I do my workshops, I need to say to somebody, "That's what every new act does. Stop it. Stop about wanking. Just gutter stuff, and that can be funny, but it's." And I was like, "It won't stand out because every young guy." Well, I'm not saying every young guy, but a lot of young guys go, "I was having a wank last night," and it's just shite like that.
Do you think that's fun? Do you think that comes across as funny because the girls laugh because it's kind of what's the word, taboo, and therefore the guys laugh because the girls are laughing?
I don't know. People will laugh at it. See if you go to you're talking about comedy savvy audience. They won't laugh at that. If you get to a pub where nobody's ever seen it before, they'll laugh.
They'll laugh.
But then they won't go anywhere else. They won't
all right,
go
man. Yeah, okay. Well, I can only relate to that. I'm getting excited now because there's so many similarities between what you do and what I do in this sense of it. That's why when I play a pub gig, I'm not playing Mr. Brightside and Proud Mary and 500 Miles. I'll play them at weddings because we're getting paid to fucking do that.
crowd pleasing stuff at weddings and that.
Exactly.
Aye.
But it's like, that's like, the weddings are the gigs where you go, well, I guess if you're a comedian, you'd be like, okay, well, I will do all the dick jokes and I'll do the political jokes
Aye.
and I'll do the crowd work
Aye.
and that, because it's easy. You know
Aye.
how to do that. But when you're doing the pub gigs, you know, essentially, you're there to create art, your art, and put your own stamp on it.
Aye.
And say, this is the kind of comedian I want to be.
Aye.
And I guess as musicians, we have that as well, where we're like, we're not going to play Mr. Brightside, we're going to play Jimi Hendrix or
Aye.
AC/DC or,
A couple of your own
God
songs.
forbid, original music. Yeah. So yeah, that, and that's where the similarities lie.
Aye.
You know, it's like you got the pub audiences that go, well, yeah,
I just want to hear dick jokes.
exactly. Our dick jokes are Mr. Brightside.
Aye.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
And
say there.
there's nothing wrong with dick jokes, but as if you want to do well in comedy, you won't stand out. You'll do well in a wee dodgy pub somewhere.
Right.
But if you go to stand or something, or, you know, you try to go anywhere, and they just sound like another 500 open spot guys who are doing the same stuff, getting laughs, but they don't stand out. I remember a guy done my workshop years ago. He done jokes about maths, stood out like fuck. He was brilliant. He spoke about maths and shit like that.
Brilliant.
And he didn't do comedy long, but he was starting to get gigs just because he was different.
Yeah.
This guy makes maths funny.
Right.
Can't remember any of his jokes, but it was just weird. It was kind of surreal, but he spoke about maths.
Right.
You know, and
Was
chess.
that something to do with your tuition? Did you?
No, no,
Did you
that-
kind of push him in that kind of unique area?
No, it was. I maybe tried to push them to do something different, but it was him. It was just. He was a very clever guy as well,
Right.
and it just seeing things at a different angle.
I was gonna say he had an angle.
Oh, aye,
Yeah.
aye,
So
aye.
that's great.
He's done jokes about chess and maths and shit like that. It was brilliant.
Can you think of anybody else that you've come across in your, either in your tuition, your workshops, or out live that you've seen who's like, that's kind of unique? Just a guy on stage or a person on stage putting out a unique angle.
There's good unique and there's bad unique. And
Yeah.
all that. So try to think of. So I'm trying to
'Cause
think.
I
So
can think of a couple right now, but I don't want to. They might be your friends or whatever, but
what, bad unique.
yeah, bad unique.
All right.
Yeah. I've seen good unique as well, like,
Aye.
but
So who's your good unique then?
well, I don't want to. I don't want to name any names.
All right.
Yeah.
So good unique. I think guys like I'm trying to think. So there's like I'm thinking Edinburgh Festival, right? Mm-hmm. So there's guys like Bruce Fumey, right? Do you know Bruce?
Mm-hmm.
So he's done shows about physics, right? So he's done shows in Edinburgh about physics. He done one year. He does a lot of history, Scottish history shows now. So a lot of stuff Scottish history. He's got a YouTube channel on Scottish history, and he's brilliant. He's funny as well. He's building a huge audience because of that. So he's done a lot of history shows, Scottish history. So he's got a niche audience for that. He done see the year of the referendum. He done 2 shows that year. One show called I'm Voting Yes, another show called I'm Voting No. So he done 2 shows.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So
that is a
so
clever-
I think he was a yes voter, but he done 2 shows on the different angles.
Right,
And
that's
that was
great.
brilliant. So that guy, he's very, he's clever.
So just for the purposes of people who are not versed in what a comedy show is, how would you describe a show? Like, how long is a show? And are you the headliner when you call it a show?
What do you mean? Like,
How long is a
Like
show?
just a
for
normal
you?
comedy
'Cause
show?
I saw you doing a show and it was about an hour long.
all right.
So
So,
is an hour a show?
well, a solo, it's weird. So, Edinburgh Festival, an hour is a show,
Right.
right? But I've done like shows out with Edinburgh Festival. I'll maybe do maybe 45 and 2 45s if I'm doing a
Two
show.
45s
Aye.
and one. Jesus.
So maybe half an hour to 45, and if you do that and a break and not the same again, and maybe 2 40s or something like that. So a lot of that'll be crowd work as well.
to the same audience.
Aye.
Not 2 separate venues
No.
or 2 separate
No.
audiences. Just
So I've done gigs like that. Where
wow,
it's like
that
two-
sounds like hard work, man.
No, well, if you go and see a lot of big names and like when I seen Stuart Lee that night, he'd done like 2 45s. It's not that much. Well, I suppose it should be, but
Yeah.
so he'll do like 2 45 minutes. 45 minutes isn't that long, is it?
No, I guess not.
You probably do 2:45s in a
Yeah,
gig,
but
wouldn't
here's one thing I wanted to mention tonight as well, man. You're the first comedian that I've had on here, and although we're talking about art forms and things
I'm
like
the
that,
first comedian on the podcast.
you absolutely are, man. Yeah.
No,
But
no, Eric Clapton's not even been on yet.
he's tied up in the fucking bathroom, man.
We're going to shag him after it.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Have I went too far?
No, absolutely not. He will get shagged after this. But the thing is, like, we're talking about, I'm talking to you like we're equivalents, where we're absolutely not, because every show you do is original material, whereas I'm always doing covers. So as much as we might be a great band, which we are, by the way, it's not our material that's selling the band. It's us playing other people's material. And don't think that thought's ever lost on me. You know what I mean? That's why I really appreciate what comedians do, and that's why I wanted to pick your brains a little bit tonight.
You've got all your own stuff as well.
I've got our own stuff, but nobody pays to see that shit, man.
I know, which is a shame. That's
But that's the luxury we have, and as opposed to comedians, where we can go out and do 4 nights a week of, like, it's not tribute, but it's covers. But you can't go out and do. I'm doing Billy Connolly on Thursday. I'm doing Lee Evans on Friday.
So I'm doing like 2:45 minutes. The first 45 Robin Williams, then I'll come back as Billy Connolly.
Exactly, man. So you're out there doing original music, original sets, shows every night, which is amazing to me, man. You know, and you have to, not only that, but you have to amend them to the audience that's in front of you as well, which might extend the show. Really, if you've got a 30-minute show, your crowd work's always going to make it up to 50.
So sometimes I've done like one in Dundee. I ended up, so I was only there to do an hour. I was meant to be, that was the original idea, but it was like a small crowd, maybe about 20, 30 or something like that, and a lot of it was chatting to them, and I got to like 40 minutes in, and the most it was just crowd work.
Yeah.
And I went, you know what, let's have a break, go and have a beer, come back, and I just...
You hadn't even started on material
I'd done some, but I hadn't done that many. But just because I was having a laugh with them,
right?
And you can feel that people want a beer. Like, have a beer, come back, and I done another 45, which is mostly material at that point. So
right, but you loosened them up to you then.
Aye.
That's great, man. That's great.
But it was like, I think a show like that it wasn't that because it was in a pub. There was no time constraints. Whereas the Edinburgh Festival, you get exactly an hour because there's other shows after you, so
so you don't get a break between the sets. At Edinburgh.
So it was a bit more relaxed, loose. Is that the word?
Right.
I was just fucking about.
Loosey goosey. So what do you think about it? Do you do the afternoon slots in Edinburgh as well? I guess when you're at the festival, you pretty much do as many shows as you can while you're there. So did you do like the sober shows at like 2 in the afternoon?
Well,
did you find them to be harder than the graveyard shifts?
No, well, I think the best time I've had was a few years ago. Was 3:45 in the afternoon,
right?
Which is fine,
right? That's probably a good time to do it when you're like, if people have been out for the festival since midday. They're probably loosey goosey by 4:30.
There's a midnight shows now that are fucked.
Yeah.
So last year I was doing a show at 1:30. Or something like that, 1:30, 1:10 or something like that in the afternoon. But it's just hard to get a crowd in. I think crowds were a bit low this year, but that's how I want to build my audience up so that I can fill that.
Right.
Because those other guys in the same venue were filling every day at the same time. So they've got a big audience online, so they need to go, right, okay, I need to do more of that so I can actually get people in. So I done one at that time, then one at 7:45 and Whistle Binkies, you'll know that venue. But that was a compilation show, and I'd one at 9:30, another solo show. That was last year. So
right, does a compilation show mean you get less stage time?
So basically the compilation show, I'd do like 10 minutes in that one.
Right.
So it's like compare.
Nice tight 10 though. No crowd work, just material.
Less crowd work.
It
depends on the night as well.
I can't imagine you ever not doing crowd work.
So if you're doing, sometimes a tight 10 is good. Sometimes it's good to do like rigid material. Sometimes that's good if the energy, if you keep the energy right. If there's reactions going on, I'll still play with them.
Right.
But there's less. Whereas an hour I can fuck about a bit more.
Right.
Aye.
Right. So that show that we saw at the Space, is that your current show still, or are you working on new stuff? And how do you work it? Do you work like that's my hour this year, and then next year I've got a new hour, or do you just keep adding and taking away from it?
I should be more structured. I've always been kind of lazy. So a lot of it's kind of developing over the years. So you maybe next year be.
Sorry if I'm asking very obtrusive questions, though, but I'm just really interested in this. Because I wish I could do it myself.
So what I'm trying to do this year, I'm writing a show this year called Becoming Rejection Proof.
That's fucking brilliant in itself.
Like that, aye. And I'm trying to like.
Because I know exactly what that means.
Aye, what does it mean then to you?
Well, to me, it means like. Well, are you talking about females or business-wise?
More business-wise, but,
right,
but
okay,
there'll be probably a bit of that as well.
Well, I would say becoming rejection-proof just means going to the fucking gym every day.
All right.
Yeah.
No, so
I just as a female, as regards to females, but I would imagine business-wise, it probably just means working your fucking arse off. And
so the idea is, the behind it is, because I feel my comedy. I don't know what you're like. You do all right music, but do you ever kind of hold back in asking for gigs? Or you don't really. I
do actually, yeah.
Right.
The right gigs.
So things like
creatively.
Aye.
Yeah.
So I kind of know that I'm a decent comedian, right? I kind of know that, but then I'll see a promoter putting a gig up, and I'll kind of go to I'll shite myself asking for the gig. I was like, he doesn't like me, fuck this, I'm not getting it, and I won't ask for it. Then I'll see somebody getting it, I went, I could have done the gig better than them, maybe not that, but I was like, just as well as them. So I hold that kind of, because sometimes you send somebody a message, you don't hear back from them, and it's not because it's not personal, it's just because they've got 100 requests, they've got 100 people asking,
right?
But then so there's a part of me who takes it personally,
right?
And what I started at the start of the year, ask for something 10 times a day, and so it started off. I started in January, so I've done it for 3 or 4 days. Ask for something 10 times a day. That could be speak to a promoter about a gig, ask somebody to buy a ticket to one of my shows in March, come and see them, and other things. It could even be things like asking to come on a podcast. Like you asked me, but even saying to somebody, can I come on your podcast?
Yeah.
So it's like if I do 10 things a day, and I've done 3 or 4 days, but then you ever get the victim mode guy coming in?
Victim mode.
Do you know how we've got right? Do you ever get the guy that thinks we've all got different personalities? A guy that goes, fuck this.
Is it part of you?
Aye, part of me.
All right.
Do you ever get that guy coming into your cell? You kind of go, you feel a wee bit, I'm not getting the breaks I need, that kind of thing. Yeah,
totally. Well, that I think I might have bypassed that guy and just went into better old cunt guy.
Aye, you went into better old cunt guy.
Oh, these young fuckers are getting all the gigs I should be
getting,
you know
what I mean? So there's a bit of that. Fuck, I should be doing better. All that. You get that, fucking hell. So, for 4 days I've done it 10 times a day, and from that, I've done all right. So I think it'll become an accumulative thing. So from that, I've sold about 6 tickets for my shows, which isn't a lot, but it's only a few days in. I've sold 5 tickets for my gigs, for my workshop next month. And there's only 10 that can go on that. And there's a few other things, a few gigs that I've got lined up. And that's only after 3 days. And I think the more I do it, I'll get better at asking. So it's not just asking for gigs, there's other things. I want to be able I want to do videos as well for social media when I build my confidence up. Like chap doors and ask for a piece and jam, but film it. So shit like that. It's like, it's just, you ever get into fucking like a clothes shop and ask for a bag of chips or something? They're just stuff that's ridiculous, but sometimes you think it asking for that, and you get this fear. So imagine you go into that shop and ask with a straight face for a bag of chips, you'll shite yourself. But overcoming that is like fucking liberating, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it's just asking for weird things, because that social conditioning's at you.
This is the mind of a comedian right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you've never seen these thoughts on this channel before. This is fucking great to hear, man.
It's how I think, man.
Yeah, but
it's overcoming it.
But the only thing stopping you from doing this is you.
Aye.
So
that's what I'm trying to do with the show.
Right.
By doing more of this and writing about my experiences. You know what I mean?
But you need to have these experiences before you actually do the show.
It's only the night of the 8th. I'll buy my loan to that. Look, did you ever do that? Right. It's only the start of January, so So it's about doing it all year and talking about the results as I do it.
Right.
But I'll also be talking about the reasons why you haven't done it as much before. So I'll be talking about the guy that was scared to ask for things before. So
Right.
a lot about the show will be about that.
Yeah.
And then so I was shite myself because of this, because of that. Talking about so a lot of my material's self-deprecating. So I'll slag off that wee guy that's shiting himself to do things.
Yeah.
But then I'll talk about trying to overcome that. So that's kind of a
Well, the great thing about that is it's you anyway, but a lot of people will relate to that.
Aye.
And like I would imagine that 90% of the people in the audience would relate to that wee guy
aye,
more so than the guy who actually went into a clothes shop and asked for a bag of chips.
Aye.
You know.
Aye.
But it depends, you know.
I got a bag of chips. You got chips?
You
I
want
just
some
asked him
chips?
for some chips.
I'll put some chips in the air fryer for you, man. Yeah,
Oh,
no
air
problem.
fryer. Ooh,
Yeah,
you're better than me with your
Mum-
air fryer.
She's turned the winds against me. Actually, my mum got us it for Christmas.
Aye.
Right, we're gonna take a wee break just now, guys.
Oh, we're having a break.
Yeah,
We're getting chips on.
I got the chips on.
We're going to get Eric Clapton at the cupboard and shag him. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Oh, this is great, man. You having a good time, Obie?
I'm having a good time, mate.
Brilliant,
I'm having a
man.
good time.
Thanks for coming on. It's John Obie O'Brien here, and it's Gary, MexiGary here on Twitch. So thanks very much for joining us, guys. And if you're watching this on YouTube,
Oh, is it live on YouTube as well?
no,
is it later on?
when it does go on YouTube.
Alright.
If you're watching this on YouTube,
In
make
the
sure
future.
yeah.
If anything's happened to Eric Clapton by this point, it wasn't us. It's just jokes. Eric Clapton goes missing in Rockazy. Imagine that happened.
Thanks for telling everybody where I live.
I'm saying could be Rockazy, but it's not really.
Crazy Rickazy. It's alright, I'll edit that better the YouTube thing. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to check out Obie's website, which I'll put down in the bottom here for tickets for his live shows and workshops. Which is coming up soon.
Aye.
Right, so we'll be back in about 10 minutes, guys. Thanks very much.